911 emergency. What is your situation?
There's a cat burglar in my house.
Oh no! Your kitty is being stolen?
Reno 911, do you need police, fire, medical? How can I help you? What's your address? You're hearing noises on your roof?
Nora 991, Nora 992, Reno 1063. Check for a possible 1014 heard on the roof of the residence. It's been occurring for the last 10 minutes.
Is there anybody else in the house with you?
10-4, there are no weapons. The complainant is home alone. Here's what sounds like someone walking on the roof.
Hazards or anything like that around your residence?
There are no animals or hazards around the residence.
Okay, are there any gates that go around your house? There's a gate on the left side. Okay, and the gate on the right side has a lock on it.
All kidding aside, Reno's dispatch has come a long way in professionalism and technology. When it comes to an emergency, they are there for all of us.
Now when you call 911, it's all incorporated into a computer system. The phone itself is now a computer system. Back in the day, it was a whole separate phone, and we were lucky to get a phone number. It was the very early stages of caller ID.
Our increase naturally goes right along with that, parallels the increase of population. But with that, the availability, because 911 is so published, because it's so talked about now, there's TV shows, the reality shows, people are so much more likely to call 911 for anything, from an emergency to a question. So it's increased our calls just at that level also, not just population-wise.
Dispatch received accreditation from the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. The dispatchers voluntarily decided to comply with a set of recognized standards for all aspects of their operation. Dispatchers handle calls for 7 law enforcement and 3 fire agencies.
In our minds, when we're preparing for an emergency situation, we're imagining the worst possible scenario in our heads because we need to be prepared for that. If somebody's just been stabbed, we're imagining the worst possible stabbing so that we know we need to get an ambulance, how many officers, where's the suspect, what kind of a weapon was used. Because in the end, the officer gets there, he sees, oh, it's just a minor injury, everything's going to be fine. But if we're not prepared to handle the worst case scenario, everything's going to be a surprise to us and catch us off guard when it does happen.
We've got somebody who calls in and said, hey, I just saw this guy walking with a gun. Well, we're not just looking at, okay, well, he's walking towards an elementary school. So we want a description, we want a time lapse, we want to know how long ago did you see him, which way was he seen walking, was he walking with anybody else, did you see him get out of a car? So we're going to press for questions that other people will be like, he's right out front, just go get him. You know, but we're going to press for, because we're looking past, we're looking three problems ahead, and people don't tend to see that when they're talking to the dispatcher.
One window shot out on the 4th floor.
The window faces north, unknown if the shot had come from above us or from inside the building, possibly somewhere south of the parking gallery.
Copy. Subjects inside the court building, stage 8. Heard a shot inside the building. Going upstairs. Check.
Yeah, stand by. We got a big floor to search.
It takes a special skill and state of mind to handle these intense situations.
First, it gets very chaotic. It's a controlled chaos because we all know what we're supposed to do. There's just so much that needs to be done immediately. Time is just of the essence when you're dealing with fires and with life. And then after the end, you just kind of like, whew, you kind of take a deep breath, kind of see, you do what you can. The dispatchers really don't get a chance, they don't get any opportunity to physically exert that adrenaline dump that they get. They hang up and they go on to the next call.
Their adrenaline goes up and down, up and down, up and down, where a lot of times, an officer gets on a call, the adrenaline spikes, and then they're able to level off. Then they deal with the paperwork side of it, then they do whatever. So there's that leveling off of them having to do that, whereas a dispatcher, that adrenaline rush goes up and down from call to call. I always tell the people who come in, our new hires, this is multitasking on steroids. This is not normal, bank teller, fast food multitasking. This is something beyond what you could even have imagined.
The dispatchers are well regarded by the rank and file.
Interesting, I tease them a little bit and say no one ever calls dispatch to say they're having a good day, that things are going great. They get calls that are just sometimes absolutely horrific, and they manage those calls in such a professional manner. And it just creates, for me, it creates a lot of admiration for them. I think they're wonderful, wonderful, wonderful folks.
By anticipating actually what we're going to do, because they've been around so long, They could probably anticipate what we're going to ask for, and they might do it before we ask them to do it. So it just speeds up the process.
They are important, and I think more so a lot we take them for granted because we have computer-aided dispatching now. And a lot of the officers and a lot of the new guys coming on are very tied to that system. When in fact it isn't the system we should be tied to, it's more the dispatchers, because the system can go down at any minute. And it's the dispatchers that actually hold the calls, that keep everything running. And even when their computer systems go down, they can go manually, and they really help out the officers and make us be able to respond to those calls that need immediate attention and response.
Okay, what was that? You see a light, a flashlight, where at? In the front of the house? Okay, ma'am, that is the officers at the door. They would like you to come downstairs and meet with them, okay? All right, no problem at all. Okay, yeah, I'll stay on the phone with you until you get downstairs.